The Moon, Earth's constant companion, has been a topic of discussion since the dawn of space travel. Missions have been planned, rovers patrol its surface, and flags have been planted. But why do we bother? Nearly 400,000 kilometers away, the Moon is a long commute from Earth, and its harsh conditions make it an inhospitable place for humans. Despite this, the Moon offers significant benefits. To understand why the Moon is so important, we need to consider its unique advantages. The Moon is perfect for planetary research, scientific experiments, and most importantly, mining precious resources. These opportunities make the Moon a highly coveted target. This leads us to a critical question. Who owns the Moon? To shed light on this, A.C. Grayling, philosopher and author of Who Owns the Moon, explains this. So what he says. Why the interest in the Moon? Grayling explains that the Moon is a better place to mine than Earth, given the damage we've done here. The Moon is rich in resources like helium-3, which could be used for clean nuclear fusion. Technological advancements and substantial investments indicate that lunar mining could soon become practical and profitable. However, as history has shown us, the potential for profit could also lead to conflict. Ownership of the Moon. This brings us to the legal aspects of lunar ownership. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, agreed upon by the United Nations, states that there can be no militarization of the Moon and no sovereignty or ownership claims. Essentially, the Moon belongs to everybody. The treaty implies a race for whoever can develop the technology to reach the Moon first. Although the UN attempted to strengthen regulations in 1979, there is no binding treaty to control lunar activities and no space courts to enforce any rules. Given the lack of comprehensive regulations, the Moon, with its vast mineral resources, especially helium-3, poses a significant risk of conflict that wouldn't be restricted to space. As we address current issues like climate change and terrestrial wars, it's plausible that the next major conflict could be fought in space. The need for legislation. So, how do we prevent such a scenario? Legislation should be tightened to avoid conflicts over lunar resources. However, this is challenging due to the multiple space agencies involved. China and Russia plan to push an orbital space station around the Moon, while India aims to do it more cost-effectively. Meanwhile, the NASA-led Artemis program, which includes about 36 nations, aims to establish a code of conduct for space activities. The Artemis Accords are an attempt to self-regulate and prevent the need for a UN treaty. But this scenario mirrors the Cold War standoff, which could easily escalate. Moving on to historical insights. To predict how things might unfold, we can look at historical precedents. The Antarctic Treaty of 1961 offers some insights. It aimed to stop sovereignty claims over Antarctica, prohibiting militarization, weapons, and nuclear testing. However, the treaty is fraying as China and Russia, partners in the treaty, have blocked efforts to extend its terms. China's establishment of research stations and their claim of special interest zones suggest a move towards sovereignty. Similar to the Antarctic situation, the Moon could see demands for exclusion zones around established bases, leading to ownership claims. The United Nations has been trying to regulate the mining of deep-sea resources, which parallels the need for lunar regulation. However, achieving international agreement on space laws, especially those making the Moon a shared property, will be challenging. Environmental concerns. When considering these challenges, environmental concerns also come into play. Despite environmental concerns, the Moon's lack of life makes it a preferable location for resource extraction compared to Earth. While there is some litter on the Moon from past missions, it constitutes a tiny percentage of the surface. Future step. Looking ahead, the Moon's strategic importance is set to increase. The idea of a lunar orbital station, combined with the ability to convert lunar water into rocket fuel, positions the Moon as a stepping stone for Mars exploration. Historically, colonies on Earth have sought independence, suggesting that future lunar and Martian colonies could eventually assert their independence from Earth. potentially leading to interplanetary conflicts. Principles for space exploration. Ultimately, the future of humanity in space will depend on the principles we establish now. Ideally, space exploration should be guided by human rights, justice, and social inclusion. However, if dominated by corporate and profit-driven interests, the future could look very different from our current aspirations. Thank you for watching Mars 666. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated on the latest in space exploration and technology. See you in the next video.